Hey everybody, this is Brenda Devine from Purpose 8 Institute, and you're listening to my podcast, Living a Life of Purpose, where we discuss the importance of purpose in our everyday lives. Discovering and living out your purpose keeps you focused on God's purpose. That is sharing the good news of salvation with others. This podcast is for people like me, still searching for the answers to who am I and why am I here? You and I were designed and created by God for purpose, and we have much to do. You can listen and subscribe to my podcast, Living a Life of Purpose with Brenda Devine on Anchor and all other podcast platforms. Hi, this is Brenda Devine from Purpose 8 Institute. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of my podcast, Living a Life of Purpose. So today's topic is residual thoughts. What are you thinking about? So I'm going to say that while you're in your battle, while you are waiting for your breakthrough, while you are waiting for your next, while God is preparing you, while you are working towards aligning your will to God's will, you're constantly focused on living out your purpose, doing what God has called you to do, constantly checking the condition of your heart, constantly looking to learn the lesson in this battle, in that dry place, so that you can move forward, so you can move out, so you can do what God has called you to do. So you're constantly focused, constantly thinking about God, constantly thinking about how He is going to move you out, your anticipation of what is next. You're constantly thinking about how to let go and how you can trust God even more. You're constantly thinking about your faith, the quality of your faith, the condition of your heart, and how you can be that testimony for others to see God's glory. So now that you're out, now that God has given you what you've asked for, now that you are in Canaan, walking around, looking at all the fruit, looking at all the glory, looking at all the wonder, and you know you have something to do, and you know you need to be focused on that, but you keep thinking about sometimes that dry place, those people, that thing, that situation, how you felt. It's those residual thoughts that throw us off while we are in Canaan. Canaan, the happy place, the place of peace, of freedom, the place that we have anticipated all these years, praying, worshiping, crying, begging for. Now that we are in Canaan and we are free, what do? But we keep thinking about those little things. They keep popping up in our heads. And then they seem like they have fruit of their own. And then you start thinking about what happened in the past. And with your relations and your family and your children and your money. And you start thinking about those things. And you get vexed. You get angry. And you're frustrated. And you wonder, what am I to do here while I am in Canaan? Because I keep thinking about this crazy stuff that I shouldn't even be thinking about. And you keep walking. And you're faithful. But you keep thinking about stuff. So I'm going to tell you, like I had to tell myself, the energy, the prayer, the obedience, the accommodation, the tears, the humbling that you put in your dry place, those are the same things that you're going to need in your breakthrough, in your Canaan, in your next. Because you're going to be in a huge place with all these opportunities and people coming at you and things, and you're wondering, what shall I do? What shall I pick? What does God want me to do? Did I hear that right? God, are you talking to me? What do I need to do? You need to walk and you need to pray. You need to walk and you need to pray. You need to have your ears and eyes open. You need to discern. You need to pay attention while you are in Canaan. There's so much space in Canaan. There's so many things to look at and distract you. There's so many new people coming into Canaan with all of the different things that can distract you. They look good. They're shiny. They may be good ideas. But what about what God told you to do while you were in Canaan? What is the reason behind your breakthrough to get to Canaan? And now that you're in Canaan, you have to keep walking. You have to keep aligning yourself to God's will. You have to have your eyes and ears open for those connections, those opportunities, those resources that God will give you to continue on your way. You can't get distracted looking at the fruit on the tree. You can't get distracted looking at the people that come into your circle. Some well-meaning and some not. Some distractions. Some you can trust. Some you can't. Some you're not really certain of. But the thing that you do hold on to, that you discovered while you were in your dry place of who you are, what your identity is, what your purpose is, what God has called you to do. You hold on to that. You hold on to the gift of salvation. Because the gift of salvation is not just for you. It is for those that you see, you hear, you walk with. Maybe even those you walk around. The gift of salvation is not just for you. That is why you're in Canaan. To serve, to be a servant, to be anointed, to do God's will, to be focused. And that takes a lot of energy and conviction and resilience to stay focused. Because it's so easy to get distracted in Canaan because you think you're free, and you are free, but free for God's use, not for your own. So while those opportunities, those resources, those people, those conversations, those meetings, those Zoom meetings, those calls, those people who seem to come to you in so many different ways, on your social media, in passing, LinkedIn, job opportunities, positions, projects. You have to pay attention and realize and think through. May even have to pray about it. God, is this what you want me to do while I am in Canaan? Is this part of my purpose? Or is this just something, a good idea? Or maybe it's a bad idea. Or maybe it's part of my purpose. See, that's the thing. We don't always know what we're walking to. But we have to have our eyes and ears and our hearts open to pay attention to what's going on. Because Canaan is the place that you prayed for. Canaan is God's promise. And while you are in Canaan, we are to give God the glory. We are to be about His business and not our own. So something to think about now that you're free, now that you're in Canaan, now that you are so happy to be free to serve God the way that you've always wanted to. Stay humble, stay faithful, keep walking, even when you don't know what's going on. Because God's not going to give you the details. And you already know that coming out of the dry place. So what you learned in the dry place, use it while you are in Canaan. Every lesson in the dry place, that was to prepare you for Canaan. So now that you are here, remember to be humble, to align yourself to God's will, to accommodate yourself to His provision and His will, to not be prideful, to not think that you deserve anything, to not think that you are better than the other person, to love, to be patient, to be quiet, to sit down sometimes, go to bed early, pull the covers over your head and just be quiet. Just be quiet and wait and pray for the answer, for the Holy Spirit to tell you what you have done wrong. Because it's always something that you have missed and can do better. And then listen. And then take that lesson with you and keep walking. This is Brenda Devine from Purpose 8 Institute. Talk to you in a little bit. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining me on my podcast, Living a Life of Purpose, on Anchor and all other major podcast platforms. To learn more about Purpose 8 Institute and our ministry of sharing the importance of purpose, please visit our website, www.purpose8institute.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and even TikTok. If you would like to learn more about purpose beyond this podcast, Living a Life of Purpose, you can also purchase one of my books that are available on my website, purpose8institute.com, and also on Amazon.